BBC Radio Lancashire.
So it's an interesting headline, isn't it, the survey? Trying to reverse ageing. Firstly, we can't do that. So why are we trying to do it seemingly to boost our career?
I mean, you're seeing a different generation this day. You're seeing people who care more about their appearance and their confidence, and having these kinds of procedures does a lot for their confidence, which then reflects on their career and their success in their industry. And we're seeing a lot more people, for that reason, uptake these non-surgical treatments.
So in general now, say in a meeting in an office, let's just pick London for a start, or Manchester, at a pretty high-powered meeting, or does it have to be a high-powered meeting? There's 20 people in that meeting. How many would have done this kind of thing then?
Well, our statistics show that a third of UK adults have had aesthetic treatments for a change in job or career related. 1 in 5 women have had dermal fillers to turn back the clock, and a significant increase in the number of men. So I'll let you do the maths. You're seeing a lot more people either who openly discuss it or keep it quiet, but more people are generally having this kind of treatment.
And no disrespect, openly you can actually see it on some people.
You can, absolutely. I mean, our ethos is to make sure that things are done naturally, things are done safely. I think in the States they certainly overtreat. In the UK we're a little bit more conservative on our approaches. You do definitely see that some people wanting the big frozen faces and the big lips, the big cheek. I mean, these are things that we strongly advocate against, really. But there are certain requests from certain people that have been having it for some time and know what they like.
Well, you're a doctor, so can I ask you, in one way, people can understand. If that makes you feel better, it gives you more confidence, fine, what's wrong with it? Is there a medical reason why you shouldn't have that?
I think it's equally as important to say no to somebody when a treatment is not indicated. Not all treatments are, on that note, cosmetic. There are some medical indications for these treatments. For example, people that can have excessive sweating have Botox. People that can have painful or wide-set jaws can have Botox to the jaw. So there are medical uses for it, when in fact it can actually tick both boxes, medical and cosmetic. There are people as well, I mean, there are strict contraindications, which means reasons that we should not be injecting people. And anybody who is considering a treatment has an in-depth consultation to make sure people that are candidates have them and people that are not are immediately excluded from that treatment.
It sounds as though, it's almost like talking about alcohol. It doesn't do any harm in itself, but if you misuse alcohol, it can be very deadly. It can be bad for your health. It can be bad for your skin. It can do this. It can do all sorts of different things. And yet most people can get through life okay just having a bit of alcohol. Is it the same with this? Because a lot of TV programmes now, especially the reality programmes, we see examples that probably you as a doctor don't want to see. Is that a bad advert for the future?
I think that's a very good point that you've mentioned there. It is a slippery slope, and some people that do start having these treatments sometimes keep coming back more than they need to. On that note, though, I think it's important, and there's a significant degree of responsibility of the injector or the practitioner or the doctor who's actually doing that treatment to make sure that their client is well informed of how often and when they should be having these treatments. You often see in the media that the horror stories, the things that have gone wrong, Botox and fillers causing all these side effects, but you don't really see what's gone right. And in an industry that's generally quite unregulated, our aim really is to push for safer treatments with natural products and making sure that our patients are aware of this.
And that is the key, I think, what you're saying, unregulated. We had Alan Sugar, didn't we? Lord Sugar and his winner, and they went on to do something, and then all of a sudden it was like, hang about that, it's a non-regulated market. Why is it not regulated?
You're referring to Leah Totten, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. It is unregulated, and at the moment, the things in this country, regulation is slowly being pushed for. What we're seeing nowadays, especially with our company, is pushing for better regulation, safer training. And a key concept of that really is to make sure that when practitioners are trained in these treatments, they follow strict landmarks or safe areas. That means using the right dosages, the right units of Botox or filler in the right areas, and making sure that things are done subtle and not aggressively. Because you can always go up from subtle if you need to top up, but you cannot go down from aggressive. And the concept really is to make sure that your patients are aware of that as well.
And there's another thing which I've heard people talk with in discussion just in my life. Just sat having a drink and something comes up in a discussion. And the thing I hear all the time is, how do we know long term? A bit like breast implants. Millions and millions of people around the world had them, and then all of a sudden the actual product itself, what they were using, became under suspicion. And long term you can't use that. And then they had to replacements. Are we going to see that with this kind of work?
No. I mean, that's different. So surgical treatments like that and surgical procedures are a lot more permanent. these types of interventions, especially the products we use with Intraline, are very, very natural based. We use products which are made in such a way where the molecular density of the product fits nicely into the skin and causes a natural result. That result is not permanent, which means if it is particularly excessive or extreme, it can be reversed. Unlike breast implants, which are stuck with you for a long time and the complication risk is higher, the complication risk of this is a lot lower. And not just that, we train people in complications, so how to prevent them and specifically how to manage them, which is probably more important.
And just to finish, Dr. Zach Ellie, finish on a positive note, you did start by talking about this, and I have seen programs myself where, people, mainly women, but men as well in some of these documentaries, where this kind of intervention in their life has changed their life completely. For the good.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it depends on. There's 18 different procedures available that are non-surgical with these kind of treatments. In terms of life-changing, it depends on what your client is really looking for. If somebody's got excessive sweating and to the point where they can't shake hands with people or wear certain clothes, having Botox there is significantly life-changing. You're able to function normally without having to worry about these problems. People that have problems with their jaw, or even people that have had a stroke. For cosmetic reasons, you can actually correct these asymmetries and make sure things are done properly. And to people like that, that's a significant change to their life.
And is it a part of the market, the industry, whichever you wish to term it as, that's getting safer and safer every time?
Absolutely, and that's something we're strongly pushing for. You will be seeing in the next few years better standards of regulation, landmark-based training, so people actually do things safely and hopefully less complications in the media.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Alec. Thanks a lot. My lad has Botox for the sweating as well. He had it a couple of years ago, and it works. So all the better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.